Thank you. Xin chào. A wonderful afternoon to all distinguished participants of the Vietnam Fintech Summit. Ladies and gentlemen who are joining us here. So super excited to be here joining the Vietnam Fintech Summit. Let me to introduce myself first. My name is Abynprima Rizky. Just call me Abid. I'm from Indonesia Fintech Association, or in short, you can say AFTech. I'm here to be your moderator for this afternoon, engaging panel discussion. Fintech X AI. What next after GenAI and Conversational AI? This is an exciting opportunity to explore the future technology together. This morning, we talked about the future of fintech, talking about the consumer digital trust, and now we also want to talk about the technology trend, particularly regarding AI. As we know that AI aims to increase the business productivity, enhancing the efficiency of human resource utilization, and encouraging innovation across various sectors, particularly in fintech and digital finance. So can AI transform the landscape by providing immediate game-changing solutions? So in the fintech industry, as we can say, AI can facilitate the innovation and help mitigate the potential risks in the future. So I have so many questions regarding AI for the distinguished panelists today, but the first, I have a simple question to all of you. What's your favorite AI application and why?
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Cuong. So a little bit about myself. Been over 17 years in finance and looking after from day one for TMA Fintech Center. So for me, from my personal view, AI would be the plus for the finance and open more opportunity for, especially for Vietnam, to attract about the foreign investment and also for the local enterprise to grow and improve the customer experience.
So Mr. Kong, do you using the daily AI application for your daily activities?
Of course, ChatGPT is and also my favorite, and GenAI is also my favorite.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Yang?
Yeah, I guess I already introduced myself, so I have unfair advantage. Yeah, so Ian, the head of Prudential AI Lab. For myself, I think just jump straight to the question for my favorite AI app. So obviously I have to use as much as I can to know what's out there. But I really have one very strong missing need from AI. So it's not even my favorite AI app, but I wish to have this app, and if anybody knows, do share with me. I want a good AI assistant for executive assistant. So for PA, right?
Yeah,
because scheduling is not easy, and prioritizing and getting the right things in the right places is really difficult. I've tried a lot, but I haven't found the best ones.
Amazing, I agree. How about you, Sam?
So just a brief introduction, Sean Wolfman, the General Director of Burley, Vietnam. We're an IT consulting and implementation company, and I've got about 27 years in the space. So I'm going to really keep this simple. When it comes to AI that I use on a daily basis is live in Thailand and I work in Vietnam. So Google Translate, Google Lens. But the difference is Google Translate looks at each individual word, so you might not get the right interpretation. Google Lens looks at the entire sentence, and each sentence and breaks it down into a translation, so it's actually more accurate than Google Translate. And then the other, just same vein, is Google Maps. So you don't think about it, but I moved to a new town 9 months ago. It's also a tourist town. So learning where new things are, but also, it's Saturday, what's the best way to get from point A to point B? And that's crowdsourcing data. It's looking at the stored traffic patterns and bringing all that in. So you may not think it's so much of the AI, but it actually is, and it's something you use in your daily life and don't think about how much AI is empowering that.
Thank you, Sam. So how about you?
Hi everyone. Yeah, my name is Duy. I'm the CEO of ADT. So the name A in our company name stands for artificial intelligence. Yeah. So for me, my two favorite are ChatGPT and Gemini for my daily task. So I cannot choose between the two, and we develop ourselves one AI hub that can integrate with both and allow easy switching between GPT and Gemini.
GPT and Gemini. Okay, so please give big round of applause to the all speakers. This response for today's individuals are truly impressive and insightful. So I'm using AI as well for enhance my English skill. Of course, to help me to take notes in the future meeting, as Ian mentioned, we need the assistant to arrange the schedule. So I mean that the AI streamlines the tasks and allowing me to focus on more strategic initiative. So, alright, so back to the topic for this panel discussion. I have several questions to all of you. How do you see the current adoption of AI in fintech in Vietnam and the region, especially within the fintech sector? Maybe start from you, Mr. Nguyen.
So for the application of AI in Vietnam, so we are a service provider company. So with this, we have the bank as our client. So I think the most three key centers are the first one is system integrations. The second one is accuracy monitoring, and also and the last one is about the data management and security. So for the system integration, you know that nowadays the banking application can do a lot of stuff. So you can do not just storing and transferring the money, but you can also pay the bill. You can do a lot of other stuff, purchase a service, and even have the entertaining function in the app.
Yeah.
So with this is a huge system that we need to integrate with.
Okay.
And I think it's also the most difficulties that we have to face when we need to train the AI to understand the system and integrate the system.
Okay, so it was happening in Vietnam now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it will.
Okay, so how about your perspective, Mr. Chen, regarding the AI development in Vietnam, particularly?
From what we're seeing from financial institutions is, I think they're still at the early stages, at least on the front end, meaning from a customer perspective or their salespeople or their agents. I mean, there is and should be things like fraud detection, risk analysis in the back end.
Yeah.
But on the front end, I mean, I think there's chat happening, but very much kind of look at my account, give me the information I'm asking about my account. Some basic product recommendations, rules-based product recommendations, and so forth. But I think the next step is a lot of the financial institutions are putting out RFPs and so forth. What they're really trying to do is get a large set of disparate and siloed data into one location and then making it actionable. And in a CRM, an MDM, a CDP, those types of things are needed. And everyone's putting in their RFPs, let's say for a CRM, they want to do some product recommendation and personalized product recommendation and starting to put that in. So I still think it's in the early stages, but once you get that foundation of having your data and having a true master database or CDP, and then having an interface for your salespeople, your customer service people to work with, like a CRM, then you can really start putting in more advanced AI. And let me give you an example. I would say Singapore and Thailand, I hate to say this, are both a few years ahead on some of these areas. So we have some banks in Thailand that have been using sophisticated CRMs for 6, 7, 8 years. Now some of them have like real-time voice transcription. So it's taking what the customer says, it's transcribing it, it's highlighting the keywords of the conversation, it's making real-time, personalized product recommendations based on that talk and the current holdings. And it's also presenting questions for the agent to ask the customer based on that conversation. So those are kind of the next steps of not just a basic chatbot, tell me about my account, what's my balance, but actually empowering the person while they're speaking to the customer with real information and real personalized recommendations right there on the call.
The adoption of AI across the different LBUs. So my mandate is Asia and Africa. And that's it. When we want to go into a business unit to say, let's look at deploying generative AI, the question then is, where's your data lake? Where do you build your data on? And if there is missing, then we do need to go in to help with that first.
As a technology provider to our banking and financial institutions in Vietnam, I can see AI applying first is ChatGPT with the large language model, where it makes the AI system is more contextual, close to the customer questions, and being more human. That is a trust with the large language model. The second is in the B2B lending, because this is the domain, the speed of approval is very important. So we support one of the largest retail in Vietnam to build what we say buy now, pay later plus the AI to make sure the approval process is pushing faster, so that they can make a loan and a fund quicker.
For Mr. Wolfman, General Director of GenAI, what are some of the downsides of applying AI in the financial industry? Have you seen any major resistance to AI adoption, and how did you overcome such hurdles?
I think I would say one thing is, are you ready for AI?
Yeah.
Meaning, once again, if you don't have the data, then AI is not going to do anything for you.
Okay.
So it can be quite an expensive venture if you aren't ready for it yet. You're not digitally mature enough to do it. You can spend a lot of money for nothing. So it's making sure that you are ready for it from an IT and data perspective, and then also making sure that you're adhering to regulatory compliance.
Yeah.
Making sure data protection, cybersecurity, all that is up to par. So if you don't control the data and make sure you're ready, and you don't have your security in order, and making sure you're following the regulation and keeping up with regulation as it changes, then it could be a very big negative for what you've done as opposed to being the positive you want AI to be.
Yeah, okay. So, can you share your thoughts on the regulatory framework in Vietnam, especially surrounding the fintech ecosystem? How well does it support the current implementation of AI?
I think you just have to be very careful on privacy rules and making sure what needs to be on premise versus what's allowed to be in the cloud or what's allowed to be shared. And I've been doing business here since I remember I was at the Banking Academy talking about cloud computing back in 2016 or 2017. The regulations have changed quite a few times over the years, so it's making sure that you are staying on top of the rules. But IT is to the point now where you're very much able to keep what needs to be on-prem. You're very much able to keep what needs to be in the cloud. As long as the technology is there to support whatever is required, and then if you're doing work internationally, then once again adhering to those and having potentially different data models and execution in the AI itself for the different regulations to country to country.
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe I can add my perspective in Indonesia as well. We have the guidance, the code of ethics for the fintech industry, how they can implement AI as well. Because talking about AI, we talk about two sides of the coins, right? We can do positively impact, but we can see the illegal financial can do also with AI to attract the people to use. So the next question, very interesting, and addressed to Mr. Ian from Prudential. Yeah, just now we heard you launched the Prudential AI lab launched in Singapore last week, right? So, could you please share the purpose behind the establishment of Prudential AI? Like maybe you can share the pain points, the reason why you need to create the project.
Yeah, so I was ready to jump in the last conversation. I think regulations is really, really interesting, right? Because every country is
Yes.
slightly different.
Yeah.
As a mandate from a group level, because we have Asia and Africa, it gives us the ability to experiment things that might not necessarily be regulatorily compliant in one country, in the other, right? So if say, for example, something need to be on-prem here, but does not need to be in another location, we can then be able to kind of tweak our use case accordingly in the different markets.
Okay.
So I think that's the really interesting part about having a more global approach in the experimentation of AI. If you are looking at just one market, for example, in Vietnam, then the applications needs to be very, very specific to the regulatory compliance elements. And my aspect in terms of trying to also sell this internally to Prudential, to our stakeholders, is that if you try this and another potential LBU says it's grey now, I'm not sure, right? The fact is, if we build this up for one of the business units in another market and it's ready, it's deployed, it shows value, and the monetary authority from another country says, you know what, now we accept it, now it's okay, right? Then we are able to quickly deploy and scale it. And I think working both in Vietnam, Thailand, the cross bridges in the globalization of technology is really interesting.
Interesting. So maybe I need your insight. Have you noticed any significant differences in the level of adoption between Singapore and other markets? Additionally, could you share some best practices or lessons learned from Singapore?
Right. Touchy, sensitive topics. so I can only speak from a perspective on the organization. It happens that Singapore, Hong Kong are our larger markets. With larger markets, you do have a stronger mandate in allocating certain amount of resources to building some technologies there, and then hopefully scaling to our other business units to help them grow better. There is increased focus in our developing markets, and that does include Vietnam. And so being born out of group level, looking at all the business units, with some stronger geographic, elements in terms of how we build our data, the allocation of resources in AI in the past few years, we hope to be able to scale that and translate that to our other markets, like Vietnam. So, to answer your question very, very plainly, I don't think there is a huge comparison from an organizational standpoint. Because from an organizational standpoint, it is about scaling technology across different business units. Whether we will born something out of Vietnam, I do hope so. I do hope our Vietnam business units come to us and say, we love this AI idea, and maybe it's regulatorily compliant here, but not in Singapore, right? And that could be something that we can bring back, right? So I do hope that.
But maybe we can create the use case to give the sample for the other countries to implement, right?
Right. And I think we're not limited to the startups geographically. So if a Vietnamese startup says, I have this, maybe Vietnam is not ready, maybe Thailand is not ready, can I try this in Singapore? Can I try this in Hong Kong? I think that's something that we can help.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your insight. So I have a question to all of you, the panelists. As a leader in this industry, what are some prevailing practices for practitioners to adopt AI in the most resourceful way? Maybe starting from Mr. What are some prevailing practices for practitioners to adopt AI in the most resourceful way?
So if put in simple way, I think focus on the problem rather than think about the beautiful of the technology, because AI is not a socket of science, so socket of science, because AI is very simple and become common. So if we think about we solve the problem of the enterprise, then it's always have opportunity there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Not trying to upsell the AI lab here, but I do really believe, and that's why I joined Prudential AI Lab, is the ecosystem. Because I think it's not only limited to AI, but most technology. We see research centers, we see startups, we see awesome technologies coming up from different areas that can solve business problems, but we don't necessarily are able to deploy that. So I think with the ecosystem being able to communicate, there is somebody there at the center of it, being able to broker, the talent, the technology with the business unit's problems as an organization, and not limited to Prudential, insurance, or even finance. That's critical, because I want to learn the best customer service support technologies that hospitality companies use, right? Because they are maybe the forefront of service,
Yes.
right? So I think that's.
I would say there's kind of a four-pillar approach. First is what are you trying to resolve? What are the pain points? What am I trying to use AI for? And what's the value and potential ROI from that? Then the second is, what data do I have to support those needs or issues I'm trying to resolve? Once you identify the ones that you actually have the data for and you're ready to move forward, is you need to pilot. You don't just put AI out there. You pilot within IT. Then you pilot within a business unit or two within your organization. Then if it's a bank, perhaps you pilot to a few branches. So you make sure you take a very measured and careful approach before you throw it out in the wild, if you will. And then lastly is continuing to monitor and look at regulation, look at how it's operating, adjust prompts, and so forth as you want to improve that need, or something changes in your business process or legislation changes, making sure you're continuing to monitor and stay on top of what you put in and not just throw it out there and go, oh, that's fine, we don't need to worry about that one for now. So it's those kind of four steps. Is what do you want to do and why? Do you have the data to do it? Pilot it and make sure you roll it out carefully, and then continue to manage it going forward.
Yeah, I also agree. I think AI is a very costly game, and we need to understand clearly what we need. Our objective is what we need to improve with by applying the AI in our system. So for addition, I think that we need a good preparation for a scalable system, and also allow for expansion.
All right, thank you so much. So please give big round of applause for all panelists. Due to the limited time, I think this is the last questions. So ladies and gentlemen, it was a truly honor to hear from distinguished panelists this respective perspective and how illuminated AI potential can drive the Vietnam's digital transformation. Embracing this advancement is crucial for Vietnam and also East Asian countries, positioning us at the forefront of the global digital economy growth. So, and with that, I'd like to close off this session with a big round of applause again. And we hope all of you stay safe and healthy. So this is Abynprima from Indonesia signing out. Thanks, see you, and goodbye.